Good morning, and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11grinds. Here to take a look at the pitching for today, the 25th of July. It is Saturday, and we do have a 4-game early slate and a 10-game main slate ahead of us this evening. From my understanding, there's no weather to worry about, so we get to take pitching for what it is. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, you can cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now let's just jump right in and get this going. This early 4-gamer, it's kind of cut and dry for me. Really for me, it's just taking pitching in this game, Toronto and Boston. Obviously, Toronto doesn't strike out a whole lot, but Sonny Gray's been pretty good, so given the slate, I just think we go with him. Struggled a bit against Toronto the one time he faced them. His overall numbers at home are phenomenal, so it's just really tough to pass on him, especially with the way that Toronto's performing offensively. And the other side, Dylan Cease just has such massive upside. Obviously, a 4-gamer, all it takes for him to slip up a little bit and not be in the winning build, but none of the pitchers on the slate can match this kind of upside. Numerous 30-plus fantasy point performances. 2 starts go 41. He's going to throw 100 to 110 pitches basically every time he goes out there. 2 starts against Boston averaged just 16 DK points per game. One of them he had 24, which means he had, 8? Yeah, the other one. It's just really where I'm going to target pitching for the most part on this slate. Then you do have a game in San Francisco. Obviously, Robbie Ray is going to be pretty popular taking on the Angels. He has shown 30-plus upside, over the last month to month and a half, so it's there. He's just been more mediocre. Walks have been a bigger issue recently, and I worry about that. His strikeout numbers kind of haven't been up either, even though he is coming off an increase to 6. It's just a plus matchup, so we're just going to ride the matchup in this ballpark. His numbers at home are phenomenal as well. Just have to worry about the walks. If you didn't want to use one of the pitchers in the Toronto-Boston game, I think you're going with Robbie Ray. It's really like a 3-headed monster. I just think those 2 in the Toronto game just have more upside than Ray at this point. I will be using some Ryan Johnson as well. He is pitching in this ballpark. He has shown flashes. He's been lit up at times too. But 4 of his last 5 starts have been at least respectable. 1 amazing start and then 1 pretty solid one. Young arm, super volatile. Walks have been up recently, so that's obviously a worry. But the ballpark is nice. And I don't fear San Francisco, from a bat standpoint overall. Arizona, Washington. Foster Griffin, somebody I'm going to mix in a little bit. He has some big upside. He's 30-plus in 3 out of his last 5 starts. 1 run or fewer allowed in, 8 straight starts now? Pretty strong stretch. 9 strikeouts in 3 out of his last 5. The problem is the other 2 in those, he had just 2 strikeouts, and that's the thing. Arizona doesn't seem to strike out a lot, especially against left-handed pitching. Do I think that he can get there? Yes, he did it. He put up 20 against them earlier. Just 4 strikeouts in 5 innings. So he's capable of doing it. I just think Arizona limits the upside from a pitcher standpoint. I'm not really interested in Mitch Brott against Washington bats. I think Washington bats are probably in the best spot on this slate. San Diego, Miami. San Diego bats come in pretty hot overall, taking on Yuri Perez, who's been pretty dominant recently. You see 3 starts of 26-plus over the last 5. 5 starts of 24-plus over his last 7. Just an elite stretch for him. Walks can be an issue, but his strikeouts have been there. Really interesting matchup. I like Yuri Perez from a pitcher standpoint. I do have a little bit of a worry because San Diego's been so good offensively. They have 16-ish home runs over the last week. They're just hitting with power. The other side, I'm not messing with the Vasquez Sears opener, long reliever situation. Jumping over to the main slate, we have some names, that's for sure. I'm going to start at the bottom just because we need to figure out how we're working through some of these cheaper guys. The fun thing is not, with us having names, none of these guys are 10K plus. So we might not have to force in some value pitching at all. And I hate looking at value pitching in that regard, but no thank you on Mason Barnett. Feltner, no. Payante, maybe. He's somebody I'm going to consider and probably think about throughout the afternoon, just because Cincinnati offers him plenty of upside. Basically a 20 fantasy point performance the first time he faced him, and that was just with 3 strikeouts. There's plenty of K upside in the matchup, so I'm debating Payante. Bryce Elder is somebody I'm probably using. Spoiler alert, he might make it into today's What Do We Win When We Win article. He is worse on the road this season, which is an issue. But I don't mind picking on Baltimore, to be honest, which is weird to say. Connor Prelip in his return. He had a blister, which wasn't too bad. Probably going to see an innings limit here. Just 3 innings in a rehab start. It's tough. I like the K upside in the matchup. He has been best at home, so there's plenty of upside. But what if we only get 5 innings? Now you can say, well, we're basically getting 5 innings, a lot of starts out of him before, and that does make sense. But it might only be a 70 pitch 5 innings or so. I'm going to need to find out more about him throughout the day to see what their plans are. But at least I'm considering him along with Payante and Elder. They're kind of in that same group. Robert Gasser probably going to be considered, but spoiler alert, he's going to be in today's article as well. So you'll want to check that out. We do pick on Colorado, especially with left-handed pitching, but I just have some concerns about Gasser. Just maybe it's a gut feel or whatever, but Brandon Young, I'm probably not getting there. He's had some respectable starts. I generally only want to pick on Atlanta, mostly with left-handed pitching, so probably not Young. Shota against Pittsburgh, there's plenty of K upside for him, coming off of a strong start. 2 earned runs or fewer in 6 of his last 7 starts, so like strong. And then his 1 start against Pittsburgh was elite earlier this season, 31 fantasy points. And he is at his best when away from Wrigley. So all things kind of lining up for him tonight. Probably going to have to play some Shota, which I don't usually do, to be honest. Tanner Bybee against Tampa Bay. I'm going to pass. He did put up 17 fantasy points against him the first time. 6 strikeouts is pretty solid, but Tampa Bay just doesn't strike out a whole lot. So, I'm generally a sucker for Tanner Bybee, but I'm just not getting there. Nick Martinez as well. I'm just not getting there. 1K over his last 2 starts, 7Ks over his last 4. Not really a huge K guy. Too many games to try to rely on him getting, 14 to 17 fantasy points and being in winning builds, especially when you have somebody like Ryan Weathers right around there. We just saw Schlittler absolutely dominate the Phillies. Obviously, Weathers is a little different pitcher, being left-handed, a little more volatile with some walks that can pop up or home runs, but I think Weathers has a ton of upside tonight. I will gladly go to Ryan Weathers at 8K on this slate. Sean Burke has been throwing the ball phenomenally. Basically 20-plus fantasy points in 6 straight starts. 29-plus in 3 of those 6. So just elite numbers. Even big strikeouts, 8, 11, 9 over a 3-start stretch. He hasn't been at his best at home, but it does kind of look like he's due for some run regression in his home appearances, which should help his numbers. Just have to play Sean Burke at this point, even though I do have questions on whether he can continue, those strong numbers. Hunter Green at 8,700 feels just so good, even if it is against St. Louis, who isn't a huge strikeout matchup for him. But I think overall, like, his upside is just so massive. 7 strikeouts in 2 out of his 3 starts, 12 in the other. Like, he just has phenomenal upside. 23 fantasy points last start in Coors, and that's well giving up 2 home runs. I'm just going to have to play Hunter Green at 8,700. There's just way too much upside that I can't pass on it. Noah McLean, trending in the right direction. Finally kind of turned things around. He was solid to start the season, went through a little lull, and then now he's kind of boosted it up. I am debating him. I don't know if I want to pick on the Dodgers with him, but I guess I could see him getting it done. It's tough. Like, he put up 27 the first time he faced him, absolutely dominant. So that's one of the things. That was on the road, I believe, in LA, which his home road splits are pretty solid. So he's a little weaker at home, but still, I think we just have to sprinkle in some Nolan McLean. It's just tougher because we have so many names up here that I'm very much interested in. I do think if I'm going to fade one of these guys, it might be Woo. His road numbers have been pretty bad. I mean, look at that difference between home road splits for somebody like Woo. Basically 16 fantasy point per start difference. His ERA is nearly triple. His average against is approaching double. His whip is approaching double. Like, just vast differences. Averaging 16 DK points per game against Texas on the season. 24 in Seattle, but only 9 in, so those kind of match basically what his home road splits are. Worst 2 starts against Texas. I think if you're fading anybody of these expensive guys, basically Weathers and up, I think it's Woo first, and then it's probably Hunter Brown second, even though I've been so big on Hunter Brown. At some point, he's got to figure it out, right? Like, if you wanted to fade Hunter Brown, I wouldn't blame you. Like, since his return, he just walks are there, and strikeouts have been down. Like, something just isn't right with him, and I don't know if they're just going to continue to let him pitch through it, or if they need to shut him down again. It's like something has to be done, but he had 9 days off before his last start. Now he gets, 6 days. Maybe he should be faded before Woo, but like, I just have this soft spot. I don't know. Maybe just remove Brown and Woo, and it kind of helps you out a little bit. But if you play Brown, I wouldn't blame you, just because we know what happens when he's right, and the upside's just incredible. Evalde against Seattle, I have no problem taking him. Fantasy point wise, he's been at his best when at home. Probably due for a little run allowed regression when at home. When you look at some of the underlying numbers, they kind of equal out to probably what should be a better ERA at home. So no problem with Evalde at all. Skeens might have kind of straightened some things out. Just 2 earned runs or fewer in 3 straight starts now. Strikeouts are kind of back up. Dominated the Cubs earlier this season with 10 strikeouts and 5 1/3. He's pitching at home where he's been far better as well. So I think we're starting to see the real Skeens again. Last guy on the slate, Yamamoto. I was debating putting him in the article as a fade. I just don't think I can get there. He hasn't been perfect recently, but even then, he has 34 plus in 2 out of his last 3 and 3 out of his last 6 starts. Just incredible upside. 26 DK points the first time they faced the Mets. And he's even stronger when on the road. So things kind of line up for him. I have no problem playing Yamamoto this evening. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching options on the slate. If you enjoyed what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop a link in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off any MLB package, or Best Ball 2026 gets you 20% off any NFL or VIP Core 4 membership. The Core 4 does include baseball as well. There's a link to the merch store. You can check out my hoodie and some of the other stuff that we have going on at DFS Army. Hit the comments. Let me know what you're doing with all this pitching on the main slate. Just a bunch of names. Like, are you fading Woo and Brown, or are you fading somebody else that's a spend up? Let me know, and as always, best of luck, everybody.